If you're watching this video right now, I want you to know it's no accident. You are guided here by something much greater than yourself, by God Himself. This very moment is meant for you because there is something special He wants you to hear today, something powerful enough to change your entire day and perhaps your whole life. Today we're going to talk about the extraordinary wisdom and knowledge that God has ready for you. Wisdom that can protect you, guide you, and fill your heart with peace and clarity. So pause for a moment and understand this deeply. You were chosen to receive this message right now, not later, not tomorrow, but in this very moment. Maybe you woke up feeling a bit unsure about your day, not knowing exactly how to handle certain situations, or feeling overwhelmed by problems that seem too big for you. You might even be carrying the weight of worries from yesterday or anxiety about tomorrow. But here's the good news. You don't have to go through any of this alone. There is a divine source of wisdom and knowledge available to you right now. The same wisdom that created the heavens and the earth, the wisdom that keeps the stars aligned and the oceans within their boundaries, is available to you today. Think about that for a moment. The Creator of everything has wisdom ready for you, wisdom designed specifically to guard your life and guide your every step. Maybe you're wondering why this matters so much. It matters because when you ask God for wisdom, you're inviting clarity, direction, and divine protection into your life. It matters because with God's wisdom, every difficult situation you face becomes manageable, every decision becomes clear, and every step forward becomes easier and lighter. This wisdom isn't just knowledge or information, it's insight that goes deep into your soul, wisdom that touches your spirit and reveals the right path when you can't see clearly on your own. But before we dive deeper into this powerful revelation, I need you to do something simple but powerful. Go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel so we can continue reaching more people just like you, people who need this divine wisdom every single day. And leave a comment below saying, "God, I receive your wisdom." Why is this important? Because when you actively express your willingness to receive God's wisdom, you're opening a spiritual door. You're creating a space in your heart for that wisdom to flow directly into your life. Today is the day you finally release confusion and invite divine clarity to take control. Take a deep breath and settle your heart. Feel the peace that comes from knowing God led you here intentionally. Know that you are already surrounded by His presence. Trust that from this moment on, you'll experience life differently because God's wisdom is about to enter your life in ways you've never imagined before. Let's start by talking honestly about something we've all experienced. Living without true wisdom is hard. It's like trying to find your way in the dark. You might feel unsure, doubtful, or afraid because you can't clearly see the right path forward. When you rely only on your own limited knowledge or understanding, you often find yourself overwhelmed by life's uncertainties. The decisions you make based on human wisdom alone often lead to confusion or disappointment. Think about how many times you've faced challenges and tried to figure everything out by yourself, only to end up more frustrated and lost than before. Life without divine wisdom is like walking through a complicated maze without any guidance. You might try your best, but sooner or later you'll find yourself stuck. Sometimes it feels like the harder you try to fix your problems, the bigger they seem to get. Maybe you've experienced this in relationships, your finances, your career, or even your health. Human wisdom has limits. No matter how intelligent or experienced you might be, there will always be moments when your own understanding just isn't enough. It's not because you aren't smart or capable. It's simply because some things in life require a deeper insight, a higher form of wisdom, one that only God can provide. That's why we desperately need God's wisdom every single day. God's wisdom sees beyond what our eyes can see and understands things our minds can't fully comprehend. It's like standing at the bottom of a mountain. You can only see what's directly in front of you. But God sees from the very top, understanding every twist, turn, obstacle, and pathway clearly. He sees every hidden danger and every hidden opportunity. When you ask God for wisdom, you're inviting this elevated perspective into your life. You're saying, "The God, I recognize that I can't see everything clearly on my own. Please guide me today." Acknowledging your need for God's wisdom is not about admitting weakness. It's about understanding your true strength comes from being guided by something much greater than yourself. Think about the peace you'd feel if you knew every decision you made was guided by perfect wisdom. Imagine how much lighter your heart would feel if you knew every step was led by divine knowledge. Imagine the confidence you'd experience when you no longer had to second-guess your choices or fear making mistakes. That's exactly what happens when you acknowledge your need for God's wisdom. Today, you're invited to let go of the stress and anxiety that come from relying only on your own understanding. Today is your chance to trade uncertainty for clarity. It's a simple but powerful step to say, "God, I need your wisdom in my life." As soon as you say these words, a spiritual shift occurs. You open yourself up to divine guidance, allowing God to lead you in ways that will protect your heart, guide your steps, and bring you lasting peace. You no longer have to guess your way through life. Today, you can choose clarity. Today, you can choose God's wisdom. Now that you've acknowledged the need for wisdom, the next step is to fully trust God's higher understanding. Trusting God's wisdom is like allowing a trusted friend who knows the way to guide you safely through unfamiliar territory. Think about a time when you felt completely lost or uncertain and someone stepped in to guide you. At that moment, relief filled your heart because you knew you weren't alone anymore. You knew someone else understood exactly what you needed to do, even when you didn't. That's exactly what trusting God's wisdom feels like. You're placing your hand in His, knowing that He sees the whole picture, even the parts you can't yet see or understand. God's understanding is so much greater than ours. While our human minds can only see limited possibilities, God sees infinite potential. He understands exactly what you need to reach your highest good. Maybe you're dealing with a difficult situation in your life right now, something that seems impossible to figure out on your own. You might be wondering how to solve a financial issue, heal a broken relationship, or overcome a personal struggle. Your mind might be spinning in circles trying to find a solution. But when you surrender that struggle to God, you invite His infinite wisdom to lead you. You step back from your worry and allow Him to reveal the right path clearly. Trusting God's higher understanding means letting go of control. It means admitting you don't have all the answers, and that's okay, because the moment you release your need to control outcomes, God begins to reveal solutions and possibilities you never could have imagined. His wisdom is not limited by human circumstances or obstacles. His wisdom can create paths where none existed before. It can solve problems in ways that are beyond your wildest dreams. Think about how peaceful your life would feel if you lived each day fully trusting God's understanding. Imagine waking up every morning, knowing that every decision you make, every step you take is guided by divine insight. Imagine going to bed every night with the assurance that God's wisdom has kept you safe and led you exactly where you needed to be. This peace is available to you right now, today, the very moment you decide to trust fully in God's wisdom. Surrendering to divine insight doesn't mean doing nothing. It means actively choosing to trust God each step of the way. It means seeking His guidance in every choice, big or small. It means being open to hearing His voice, feeling His nudges, and following His direction even when it doesn't make sense at first. Because when you trust God's higher understanding, you begin to see miracles unfold. Situations that once seemed hopeless suddenly become filled with possibilities. Challenges become opportunities for growth. Difficult moments become stepping stones to greater blessings. Today, take a deep breath and make the conscious choice to trust God fully. Allow His higher understanding to guard your life and guide your steps. Choose to walk through your day with the powerful assurance that you are protected, guided, and deeply loved by a wisdom far greater than your own. Today, choose to surrender completely to the wisdom of God. Now that you've acknowledged your need for wisdom and have chosen to trust God's higher understanding, it's time to personally invite His wisdom into your life through prayer. Prayer is one of the most powerful tools you have. It's your direct connection to God, a lifeline that is always open. When you pray, you're not only speaking words, but you're opening a door through which God's wisdom flows directly into your heart and mind. Every morning before your day begins, pause and say a simple yet powerful prayer, inviting God's guidance into every decision, conversation, and action you take. When you invite God into your daily life, you're setting yourself up to walk in peace, clarity, and purpose. Begin your morning prayer by speaking honestly and sincerely from your heart. You don't have to use complicated or fancy words. God already knows exactly what you mean. Simply say something like, "God, I need your wisdom today. Please guide my steps and help me make good decisions. Show me clearly what I should do. Help me to recognize your voice when you speak to me and give me the courage to follow wherever you lead." These words, though simple, carry great power because they come from a place of humility and openness. You're admitting that you need guidance and that humility creates space for God's wisdom to enter your life powerfully. Think of your morning prayer as setting your GPS for the day. When you pray, you're telling God, "I trust you to guide me exactly where I need to go today." It's a conscious decision to let God be your navigator through every moment of your day. You no longer have to stress about whether you're making the right decisions because you've invited God Himself to lead you. Even if you're facing something that seems difficult or overwhelming, this prayer assures you that you're never alone. God's wisdom will lead you through safely and clearly. The amazing thing about this daily prayer is that the more consistently you invite God's wisdom, the easier it becomes to hear His guidance. Over time, it becomes natural to seek His direction in every situation. Each day you'll find your heart becoming calmer, your thoughts clearer, and your decisions wiser. Prayer aligns your heart with God's purpose, and when your heart aligns with Him, your life naturally begins to unfold in a beautiful, meaningful way. Remember, your prayer doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be honest. God already knows your heart, and He cherishes your honesty and sincerity. Let your morning prayer become a habit, a beautiful daily ritual where you openly receive the wisdom God has reserved just for you. Soon you'll find your days unfolding more peacefully and smoothly, guided by divine wisdom at every step. Today, choose prayer as your first response to any uncertainty or challenge. Allow God's wisdom to become your trusted companion, guiding you lovingly through every moment of your life. One of the greatest gifts of inviting God's wisdom into your life is the powerful protection it brings. God's wisdom is like a shield that guards your heart, mind, and soul. Think about the times you faced unexpected trouble or danger. Maybe you were unsure of a decision, or you felt uneasy without understanding why. In those moments, God's wisdom speaks softly, gently guiding you away from danger, trouble, or harm. When you trust that inner guidance, you're protected in ways you often don't even fully realize. God's wisdom sees what we cannot see. It understands risks, hidden dangers, and pitfalls that our human eyes often overlook. When you walk through life guided by divine insight, you walk in safety and security. You're no longer relying on your own limited understanding to protect you. Instead, you're relying on the wisdom of the one who knows everything, the one who sees clearly into the future and understands the outcome of every decision before it happens. Imagine driving along a dark road late at night. Without headlights, it's dangerous. You risk missing sharp turns or unseen obstacles. But once your headlights turn on, suddenly everything becomes clear and you can avoid danger easily. God's wisdom works just like those headlights, illuminating your path clearly and keeping you safe from harm. Every time you ask for and trust God's wisdom, you are activating divine protection that goes ahead of you, clearing away unseen dangers and creating a safer path for your journey. Many times, you may not even realize how God's wisdom has protected you until later. Perhaps it guided you to avoid a bad investment, to walk away from a harmful relationship, or to take a different route home, only later to discover you avoided trouble or harm. These are not coincidences. These moments are clear signs of God's wisdom at work, guarding your life in ways you never imagined possible. The more you recognize these moments, the more confidently you'll trust in God's protection each day. Living under the protection of God's wisdom means less fear, less anxiety, and fewer worries about the future. You start to feel confident that no matter what happens, you are safe because you are guided by divine wisdom. This sense of security transforms the way you approach life. It gives you the courage to live more boldly, to take positive risks, and to step forward with confidence into your purpose, knowing that God Himself is protecting and guiding every step you take. Today, let God's wisdom guard your heart, your decisions, and your path. Trust fully in the protection that His wisdom provides. Know deep in your heart that you are covered by divine insight, and walk confidently in the peace of knowing you are safe, secure, and protected in every area of your life. Now that you understand the powerful protection that comes from God's wisdom, it's essential to learn how to recognize His voice clearly. Many people wonder, how do I know when God is speaking to me? It's a common question, but here's the good news. God wants you to hear Him clearly. He doesn't want His guidance to be a mystery. In fact, He speaks to you more often than you might realize. Learning to recognize His voice is simpler than it seems. The first step to recognizing God's voice is learning to quiet your mind. Life is often noisy and distracting. The busyness of everyday life makes it challenging to hear clearly. Think of your mind as a radio station that needs tuning. If you constantly allow distractions and worries to dominate your thoughts, it's difficult to pick up on the clear signal of God's wisdom. But when you intentionally slow down, quiet your heart, and take moments to pause and listen, you create space for God's voice to come through clearly. God speaks in many gentle, quiet ways. Sometimes it's a subtle feeling of peace when you consider a particular choice. Other times, it's a strong sense that something isn't right, even if you don't understand why. Occasionally, God speaks clearly through people around you, or through situations and experiences that teach you important lessons. The key to hearing God's voice is to remain open and attentive. Always stay alert and aware, knowing that God is constantly communicating His wisdom and guidance directly to you. Another powerful way to recognize God's voice is through reading and reflecting on simple passages from Scripture or spiritual texts. God often speaks clearly through His written word. Sometimes you'll read a verse or a passage that speaks directly to your situation. You might feel a deep resonance or sudden clarity that points you in the right direction. Pay attention to those moments. They are divine confirmations of the wisdom God is giving you. Most importantly, God's voice brings peace. Even when He challenges you or guides you through something difficult, His wisdom never causes confusion or fear. God's guidance is calming, steady, and reassuring. It fills you with confidence and clarity. If you ever feel confused or uncertain about whether guidance is truly from God, pause and reflect quietly. Divine guidance will always settle in your heart peacefully. It never rushes or pressures you. Today, commit yourself to intentionally listening for God's wisdom. As you quiet your heart and open your mind to His voice, you'll find it easier to recognize the wisdom He's providing. The more you practice listening, the clearer His voice becomes, guiding you safely, wisely, and lovingly through every moment of your life. Knowing God's wisdom and hearing His voice clearly are beautiful experiences, but the real power comes when you put this wisdom into action. God's wisdom is meant to guide you practically in every area of your daily life, from the simplest decisions to your biggest challenges. When you apply divine insight practically, your days become smoother, clearer, and filled with purpose. Think about the many choices you make each day. Choices about your relationships, your job, your finances, or your family. Often these decisions feel overwhelming, especially when you rely only on your own strength. But when you apply God's wisdom, you suddenly have clarity about what steps to take. Maybe you're unsure how to handle conflict at work or a difficult conversation with a loved one. Instead of reacting impulsively, you pause and quietly ask God, "What should I do here?" When you listen carefully, He gives you guidance on the best way to respond, bringing harmony instead of tension. Applying God's wisdom also means making daily choices with integrity and kindness. God's wisdom always guides you toward honesty, compassion, and respect. When you follow these values, Your actions create positive effects. For example, imagine someone treats you unfairly or says something hurtful. Human wisdom might push you to react defensively or angrily, but divine wisdom gently whispers, "Stay calm, respond with kindness and forgiveness." When you choose to follow this divine prompting, conflicts melt away, relationships grow stronger, and peace fills your heart. Another powerful way to apply God's wisdom practically is through wise stewardship of your finances. You might wonder how you can manage money better or how to increase your resources. Instead of stressing, pause and ask for God's direction. His wisdom may guide you to save, invest, or give generously to someone in need. When you follow this guidance, you'll discover unexpected blessings. God's wisdom in managing your resources leads to prosperity, generosity, and greater financial peace. Each day offers numerous opportunities to practice God's wisdom. Maybe it's helping a stranger in need, encouraging a friend, or simply listening patiently when someone else speaks. God's wisdom guides you to love, kindness, and patience in practical ways. Every moment becomes an opportunity to live wisely, creating a life filled with meaningful interactions, greater happiness, and deep inner peace. When you actively apply God's wisdom, it begins to change your habits and reshape your thinking. Instead of responding to life's challenges with worry or anxiety, you respond with calm assurance, knowing you're guided by divine wisdom. Your daily life becomes a reflection of the wisdom you've received, blessing not only you, but everyone around you. When you begin consistently applying God's wisdom, something amazing happens. You start living with confidence. Your confidence isn't based on your personal abilities or strengths, but on the certainty that God Himself is guiding every decision you make. Living confidently means you no longer have to guess or worry about the future, because you know that divine wisdom is guiding your steps clearly and safely. Imagine walking through life without the heavy weight of worry or doubt constantly pulling you down. Imagine waking up each morning feeling secure, knowing God is already preparing the way ahead of you. This confidence comes directly from knowing you have access to God's limitless knowledge and wisdom. Every step, every decision, every situation is covered by divine guidance, and that assurance changes everything. Confident living doesn't mean challenges disappear. It means you face those challenges differently. Instead of panicking or feeling helpless, you calmly turn to God's wisdom for direction. Difficulties no longer threaten you. They become opportunities to experience God's strength and clarity even more powerfully. You no longer fear the unknown because you know the one guiding you sees clearly and understands perfectly. God's knowledge gives you a peace that can't be shaken, even when life feels uncertain or confusing. Think of a child walking hand in hand with a trusted parent through a crowded street. The child isn't afraid because they trust completely that their parent will guide them safely. They move confidently, secure in the knowledge that they're protected. This is exactly how you can live when you fully trust God's knowledge. You know He is holding your hand, protecting you, guiding you, and leading you exactly where you need to be. Living confidently also means you're willing to take positive, faith-filled risks. Because you trust in God's wisdom, you boldly step into new opportunities without fear. Maybe it's applying for a new job, starting a new project, or even making a big life decision. Instead of hesitating or doubting yourself, you confidently move forward, knowing God's knowledge guides you toward success and purpose. Today, begin living confidently in the knowledge that God Himself is guiding your every step. Embrace the peace that comes from knowing you're never alone, never lost, and never without help. God's wisdom and knowledge are always with you, giving you the courage and confidence to walk through life with clarity, purpose, and peace. Gratitude is a powerful way to deepen your connection to God's wisdom. When you express thankfulness for the guidance you receive each day, you're creating a beautiful spiritual cycle. Gratitude opens your heart wider, allowing even more wisdom, knowledge, and blessings to flow into your life. Take a moment each day to simply say, "Thank you, God, for guiding me today. Thank you for giving me the wisdom I need to make the right decisions. Thank you for protecting and blessing me in ways I might not even notice." These simple expressions of gratitude draw you closer to God's presence and create a space for deeper wisdom to enter your life. Gratitude also shifts your mindset from one of lack and worry to one of abundance and trust. Instead of focusing on what you don't have or what might go wrong, gratitude helps you see clearly all the ways God is already blessing and protecting you. This positive shift opens the door for even greater blessings to enter. God honors grateful hearts by filling them with even more wisdom, more clarity, and more peace. Expressing gratitude regularly makes it easier to recognize God's guidance throughout your day. As you become more aware of His wisdom, your gratitude grows stronger. Soon you'll notice that even challenging moments are opportunities to experience God's guidance more deeply. Difficult situations become less overwhelming and more manageable because gratitude reminds you that you're never alone. God's wisdom is always there, always guiding, always protecting. Gratitude also transforms your relationships. When you're thankful for the wisdom God gives you, you become more patient, kind, and compassionate toward others. Gratitude softens your heart and makes you more understanding. People around you feel this change, and relationships become more harmonious and fulfilling. Make gratitude part of your daily practice. Each morning and each evening, pause and express genuine thankfulness for God's wisdom in your life. Thank Him for clarity, direction, peace, and protection. Soon you'll discover your life becoming richer, fuller, and more deeply connected to God's loving guidance. Today you've taken an incredible journey of understanding, prayer, trust, and gratitude. You've learned the importance of God's wisdom in every part of your life and how practically applying this wisdom changes everything. From this moment forward, you have the opportunity to walk every day in divine clarity, protection, and confidence. As you wake each morning, let your first thought be one of trust. God, guide me with your wisdom today. Allow this simple prayer to shape your decisions, actions, and relationships. Let gratitude become your daily habit, opening your heart to receive even greater blessings and guidance. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. God's wisdom and knowledge will always guard your life, bringing peace, clarity, and fulfillment. Walk confidently into each new day, knowing you're guided by the greatest wisdom available, the wisdom of God Himself. Your life is meant to be lived fully, joyfully, and purposefully. With God's wisdom as your guide, every step you take leads you closer to the life He has planned uniquely for you. Embrace His wisdom today and every day, and watch how beautifully and powerfully your life unfolds.